So Ursula von der Leyen didn't realize she had already lost until the applause stopped. And it was in that moment, under bright lights in Brussels, she believed she was delivering a moral victory to the world. Europe would seize the interest on frozen Russian reserves, a line in the sand, a declaration of justice. But somewhere else in a room that was probably quiet, well, Vladimir Putin, he didn't rage. He didn't shout. He didn't flip over a table. According to reporting, he simply smiled because he understood something Brussels had not. When the West breaks the rules that holds the financial world together, you don't get to just arbitrarily unbreak them. So that very first phone call that rang after the announcement, it was not Ursula's. It was Olaf Scholz, Chancellor of Germany, staring at a folder this thick of German corporations caught inside Russia like hostages with expiration dates. We're talking about Volkswagen factories, land, machinery worth billions, Raiffeisen Bank, so exposed that even one wrong policy could snap its balance sheet like a twig. And inside those boardrooms, a realization spread like smoke. She just placed corporate wealth on the negotiating table without asking the corporation's permission. And then the Kremlin moved. No rage, no fireworks, just a signature, a decree. And it was barely 2 sentences long. Russia would review European corporate assets matching the same value Europe ordered seized. 15 billion euros. Not more, not less, just a perfect mirror. And that's not aggression. That's financial judo. So you let your opponent's momentum do the damage. Now, Christine Lagarde, president of the European Central Bank, well, she watched markets flicker with something more dangerous than panic. And it's what markets hate the most, right? Uncertainty, trust, the invisible seatbelt that lets the global economy move at highway speed. It just loosened. Because the truth is simple. If Europe can rewrite property rights once, then no vault, not in Frankfurt, not in Luxembourg, not in Brussels, is guaranteed neutral ever again. And every central bank governor, from Riyadh to New Delhi to Brasilia, felt the same subtle shift. The kind of shift that makes quiet wealth quietly move. Not tomorrow, not with headlines, but by wire and silently. Now, in Austria, Raiffeisen CEO Johann Strobel reportedly demanded answers. Why are our institutions being used to wage wars on balance sheets they can't afford? So he asked a minister who could not actually even look him in the eye. And that is the first sign of a political fracture, when the private sector, not governments, becomes the ones bleeding. Now, in Germany, Volkswagen CEO, a man who employs entire cities worth of workers, asked Scholz this, a question that almost felt biblical. Are we sacrificing our future so Europe can feel righteous today? Now, when the leader of an industrial empire asks a chancellor that question, well, history, it's already moving. But someone else, someone whose name will never trend, may have seen this coming. Because reports suggest this, that a senior EU legal advisor warned before the policy was approved that this decision cannot be undone. That voice, the ignored voice, is the ghost character in this entire story. Because here's the part no speech in Brussels will ever say out loud. Helping Ukraine was not the mistake. The mistake was proving to the world that Western custody is conditional. You cannot go to a casino, flip the table over, and expect the players to return tomorrow. So do this with me. Let's picture a scene late at night, right? In a Kremlin office, a dim lamp, a map, and Putin tapping one number with a finger, the way a chess master might tap a pawn. And pawns win wars when queens forget the rules. He didn't have to punish Europe. He only had to let Europe punish itself. Meanwhile, in Singapore, wealth managers welcomed calls they did not ask for. So Dubai added more vault space. Hong Kong bankers, well, they signed NDAs with fewer questions asked. And it's important to remember that capital is not loyal. Capital is a living organism that runs from fire and walks towards silence and security. Now, Ursula believed she was delivering a message, but the world heard a different one instead. And what they heard was this: your money is only safe until we decide otherwise. And that message, once spoken, it simply cannot be taken back. It can't be unsaid. Because the consequence is not today's headlines. The real consequence is tomorrow, when Saudi officials decide where to park hundreds of billions, when Indian ministers ask whether their future belongs in Western's vaults in the very first place, or should they consider having a roof that they get to control. So trust is like glass. It doesn't matter whether you drop it from 10 feet or from 1 inch. When the glass breaks, it just breaks. And Schultz did not choose this outcome. He now explains to CEOs why their factories may never be returned. Lagarde did not choose this either. She now defends a currency standing on thinner ice than it ever has before. And Johann Strobel, he will be the one who eventually explains layoffs to human beings, to families who will never learn the name of the politician who caused it in the very first place. And now, the question that keeps bankers awake at night is no longer, was this right or was it wrong? The question now becomes, if Europe asked the world to return, would the world even answer the phone? All right, guys, what do you think? Do I have this right? Do I have it wrong? Let me know in the comment section below. I look forward to reading and replying to all of your guys' comments. And again, thank you guys so much for watching me here on The Baseline.